Today, we're pulling back the curtain on the restaurant world, and we're going way beyond the menu to uncover the hidden science of design. You know, where every single chair, table, and plate is actually part of this grand strategy to shape your experience, and of course, to boost the bottom line. Okay, let's dive right in.
I mean, really think about it. The last cafe you were in, those classic, kind of simple bistro chairs, yeah, they weren't chosen by accident. In a well-run restaurant, absolutely nothing is. Every single object, from how high the seat is to the shape of the table, is a totally deliberate strategic decision.
So, let's start with the big picture, right? The room itself. How do restaurants solve this constant puzzle of maximizing their space and keeping a really smooth flow of customers, all without making you feel like you're on some kind of conveyor belt?
Well, this right here is the fundamental challenge every single restaurant owner faces. On one hand, you've got to be efficient. Turning tables quickly means more customers, which means more revenue. But on the other hand, you need hospitality. Nobody wants to feel like they're being rushed out the door. It is a really delicate balancing act.
So, how do they actually pull it off? Well, the strategies are surprisingly subtle. Chairs that are a little rigid and don't have armrests, they kind of discourage you from lingering too long after you've finished your meal. Placing tables in more open, high-traffic areas, yeah, that does the same thing. Now, this isn't about being rude, it's all about matching the environment to the concept. Just think of those bustling bouchons in Lyon. The seating is friendly and social, but not overly plush, which keeps the energy high and, you guessed it, keeps those tables turning.
And this idea of smart design leads us right to our next point. You don't actually need a bigger space to make more money. You just need a smarter space. And the key to all of this is flexibility.
A versatile layout is a restaurant's secret weapon, for sure. Mixing up table shapes is just brilliant. Round tables can often squeeze more people into a smaller footprint, while square ones, super easy to push together for bigger groups. And those modular banquettes are perfect for creating little sections for parties of 2, 4, or even more. The one thing you really want to avoid? Those huge, fixed tables that just sit half empty most of the night, taking up incredibly valuable real estate.
And if you want to see this in action, just look here. The iconic Café de Flore in Paris is an absolute masterclass in this. They use this perfect combination of small, round tables and these long, beautiful banquettes along the walls. This setup lets them handle a constant flow of tourists, locals, couples, and groups, all while keeping that classic Parisian elegance. It's just genius.
Okay, so let's zoom in from the big room layout to the furniture itself. Choosing the right seating is such a critical decision because you're trying to balance comfort for your guests, long-term durability, and, of course, the cost.
The pros really focus on 3 main things. First, strength. I mean, restaurant chairs take a serious beating, so sturdy materials like solid wood or metal are a must. And if they're stackable, that's a huge plus for cleaning and storage. Second, those standard dimensions for comfort are totally non-negotiable. And third, you don't have to break the bank. Savvy owners find incredible deals at auctions or on secondhand sites.
Now let's talk about those standard dimensions. The first magic number is the seat height. The pros know that a height somewhere between 40 and 45 centimeters is the absolute sweet spot for most adults. It's a tiny detail that makes a massive difference in how comfortable your guests are. And working right alongside that is the next critical measurement, the space between the seat and the tabletop. You want that to be about 30 centimeters. Any less and your guests feel totally cramped, any more and they're awkwardly reaching for their food. This is the hidden geometry of a really comfortable meal.
And believe me, getting these dimensions wrong can be an absolute disaster. There's this story of a restaurant in Marseille that invested in these beautiful but way oversized tables and chairs. And the result? They lost nearly 30 seats from their floor plan. That is a massive, permanent cut to their potential revenue, all because of one single furniture choice. Ouch.
So what about upholstered seats, like banquettes? Well, the same rules apply, but with a little twist. You absolutely need tough, stain-resistant materials like vinyl or genuine leather that look amazing but are super easy to clean. And notice that gap dimension again? It's just slightly adjusted for the cushioning. It's exactly why classic Parisian cafes like Procope can maintain that elegant look with their leather banquettes. They're both stylish and incredibly practical.
All right, we've designed the room, we've picked out the furniture. Now let's get even more granular and look at the tabletop itself. The plates, the glasses, the cutlery. This is where small choices can have a truly massive impact on both how things look and on the profit.
First, just take a look at this number. Depending on the restaurant and how busy it is,
Owners expect to replace anywhere from 20 to a staggering 80% of their tableware every single year. Breakage is a huge, constant cost, which makes choosing the right stuff absolutely critical.
In high-end dining, the tableware is basically the frame for the art on the plate. At Guy Savoy's legendary restaurant in Paris, they use these simple, minimalist white plates. And why? Because it makes the food the absolute star of the show, which is exactly what you want when your cuisine is that exquisite.
You know, plate size itself is a really powerful psychological tool. Larger plates can actually make portions look smaller, which might tempt chefs to add more food, driving up costs and waste. But smaller plates can make the exact same portion look way more generous and abundant. It's a subtle trick that directly impacts the bottom line.
And this isn't just a theory, it's a high-level strategy. At top French restaurants like L'Auberge du Vieux Puy, you'll see that every dish comes on a plate that's been specifically chosen to perfectly match its portion size and visual design. It's this total harmony between the food and the plate it's on.
The exact same logic applies to glassware. Smart operators use tempered glass, which is way more resistant to shocks and temperature changes, and that dramatically cuts down on that replacement rate we were just talking about. And just like with plates, the size of the glass controls the portion. Using a 25 centiliter glass for a standard wine pour makes it look generous while keeping every pour consistent. You'll see this in all the best wine bars in Bordeaux.
And finally, we have cutlery. The choice here really boils down to two things: quality and function. A material like 1810 stainless steel gives you that perfect blend of durability and elegance. But beyond that, you have to actually test it. Does the knife actually cut the steak you serve? It sounds so basic, but it's a detail that shows how serious the restaurant is. It's a core idea in Lyon's famous gastronomy.
Okay, for our final section, let's look at how modern chefs are challenging some of these old traditions to drive profit and completely redefine the dining experience.
This is such a fantastic example from the legendary chef Pierre Gagnaire. I mean, for decades, white tablecloths were the absolute, unquestioned symbol of fine dining. But they also come with huge laundry and maintenance costs. So by getting rid of them, he not only saved a ton of money, but he also sent this powerful message. He was making the stuffy atmosphere more modern and making high-end food feel more accessible. Brilliant.
So, the crucial point in all of this is that nothing is arbitrary. Every single choice, from the legs on the tables to the rims of the plates, is a calculated decision. It's this complex equation that's always balancing budget, brand identity, efficiency, and, ultimately, the way you feel when you sit down for a meal.
So, the next time you're out to eat, I challenge you. Look around. Look at the chairs, the space between the tables, the size of your plate. Now that you know the secrets, what invisible strategies are you going to see at play? Thanks for tuning in.